Morning! How are you guys? It's about 7:30. I'm probably being far too loud because the kids are still asleep. Mrs. HGP is awake in body.
Good morning.
Oh, I shouldn't put her on camera at this time of day, should I? Oh, she's ill as well. Yeah, she's really ill. What's wrong with you?
Tonsillitis.
She's got tonsillitis and it looks seriously sore. Anyway, today on the Hoof GP, we are headed to a farm that we head to every 4 weeks. Kev Boy is still laid up at home, recovering from that back surgery, and you guys think I had a haircut, but I didn't. That was an old video, folks. Don't get too excited. This is the Hoof GP. Here's what's coming up in this episode.
We peel back a bandage that's been left on a cow's foot for way too long, look at this incredibly painful lesion, and make snow angels.
Morning, Craig.
Good morning. Oh, good morning.
Did you notice that? He was happier to see you than he was to see me. In the mornings we chat about what's going to happen and obviously gossip as well. And Craig just reminded me that he broke the cupboard yesterday, so we'll need to try to fix it this morning. And just like that, it is time for work. Oh look! You can't even film him because he's that stupid. Oh, he's found something to eat. This is Mia. I'll quickly show you this, look. No, obviously it's sponsored by EASYFIX. Well, look what EASYFIX gave me. You see, it's not just for cows. This is our gym to try and fight the fat. But look at the floor, look! Fine, no marks. Thanks, EASYFIX. Anyway, let's go outside and get cold. It has been snowing and it's rather slippy. It's pretty though, huh? I love this time of year, a nice, fresh, crisp winter's morning. You can't beat it. You feel alive. It's not too cold. It's only about -2 or -3 degrees C, so it's not too bad at all. So we are on our way to a regular customer today. We probably have about 50 cows to do today. Some have problems, some don't have problems. We've not gone there forever. So yeah, the feet aren't fantastic yet, but they are well on their way. Hopefully when we get there they're ready, because they're notoriously bad for not being ready. You know who you are.
And with that, we load up and head on out into this wintry Scottish landscape. Where we live in southwest Scotland is always beautiful, but at this time of year, with the sprinkling of snow on the ground, some of the views we get are absolutely spellbinding. It's only a short 25-minute drive to work, but with views like this, I wouldn't mind if we were driving for the next couple of hours. With that, this is our destination for the day, a farm nestled in the snowy woodland just outside of Dunragit, a small village on the edge of the Rins of Galloway, at the very mouth of Luce Bay water.
Truth be told, we don't really get much snow here, and because I'm a bit childlike, I love it. I wish it would snow more. I see cows. I see cows in our bit.
I'm surprised they're ready for us, not because they're unorganised, but because we arrive at this farm at all different times, so they're never exactly sure when to expect us.
Oh, ye of little faith.
Yeah.
To you too.
So, full disclosure, today we don't really have any idea how many cows we'll do. It could be anywhere from 20 to 70 or 100. What we're going to do is we're going to trim these cows that are pulled out first right now. I don't think there's any of them lame, so we're just going to crack on, get through them. Then we have a little pen here, which there are definitely some issues in. They've been brought round from another shed. And then we're going to get even more from this side and from this side. So we definitely have a busy day, and thinking about it, yeah, we're definitely doing more than 20, aren't we? Anyway, let's crack on and get through this first batch of cows that are all pretty much perfect, I think, and then crack on to some of the lame cows.
This is how most of our visits go. We get to the farm, get set up and crack on with the job in hand. We do it as quickly and as efficiently as possible, all the while making sure our standards are as high as they possibly can be.
You got me tiptoeing around you like you're made of glass. Got an invincible fence letting everyone know not to trespass. But you're bound to break down, bound to lose, bound to get knocked right out of your boots when I use my witchcraft.
Here's one for you folks. This cow has a bandage and it looks like it's been left on too long. We probably did it and we've not been here for a few weeks. So, yeah, that's not a great thing. But let's see what is lurking underneath this bandage. Obviously, looking at it through the camera lens, you can barely even tell this is a bandage. But once we get it washed off, we'll all know that is definitely a bandage. We're gonna give it a rinse off and cut it off and see what is underneath.
This could be a worst case scenario. Treating a cow only to have her end up worse because the bandage has been left on is absolutely gut-wrenching.
So as I'm unwrapping this cow's foot, I start to understand why this bandage has been left on longer than it should be. The girl who works at this farm and who looks after these cows really, really well has been off ill for a few weeks. She's the one who takes care of their health care, if you like. So people who are standing in, who aren't actually from this farm, who are doing her job for her. So I'm not saying it's fantastic, but at least we understand why it's not just been left willy-nilly. It's understandable why it's been missed. Unfortunate, but understandable.
Originally, when we wrapped this hoof, we would have used salicylic acid and iodine held in place by blue paper towel. And we used 2 blocks to keep this outer hoof high off the ground so that it would dry out and begin to heal.
That's the tissue paper that's been on there from when the salicylic acid and iodine were applied.
Clearly a lot of progress has been made from when we first saw this cow's hoof. I know that because I know what a healing hoof looks like, and I need to be careful not to undo all of that good work. So using the grinder here is essential, but it's also essential that we are extremely careful and don't go too far.
So if we look from the side here, we can now clearly see there are 2 blocks, one on top of the other, and that would have been put on to keep this completely up out of the manure so that it would dry out. I wouldn't have put 2 blocks on such a small lesion, so that tells me this has been a much, much greater lesion. And if we look here, all of this yellow horn lets me know that at one point this has all been bloody, raw and open. So this is a problem on its way to recovery. I'm not happy with what might be lurking underneath those blocks, and as you can see from this angle, they are not wearing perfectly square, meaning it's putting undue pressure on this cow's ankle. So we're going to remove these blocks, see what's underneath, and then decide what's best to do. Sometimes you can just pull them off because it's been on so long, but not this time. So we're going to have to grind it off with the grinder.
Sometimes it can seem entirely nonsensical to remove a block only to then replace it, but imagine if there's a problem lurking underneath this wooden block and we've left it in place without even checking.
So as I'm trimming this block off, you may be tempted to think he could just square the block up using the grinder, and I pretty much have at this point. But as I take the rest of it off, you're going to understand why we need to take the whole thing off entirely. You see, underneath the block looks perfectly fine, but when it was on and in place, I could see this detached hoof horn at the heel, and sometimes that can be a telltale sign that the whole sole is delaminating. With this other block in place, we couldn't have seen that. So now we're going to trim all of this away and see if this is okay or not. And depending on the outcome of that, we may or may not reapply a block. So as I'm trimming away this hoof horn from the inside of the medial claw, which is this inside claw, it's starting to look good. And as we can now see, this hoof is totally fine. So we're gonna go ahead, reapply a couple of blocks to keep this right up out of the ground, because if we look here, we can see the joint is infected. So having 2 blocks high is providing much needed pain relief. So I've mentioned it before, and I'll mention it again as I'm applying this block. I'm gonna be in Tulare at the World Agricultural Expo on the 16th of February. So about 3 weeks time, I'll be on the KVK stand. I'll definitely be there from 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock. I'm not sure what other time, but pop along to the KVK stand at the Tulare World Agricultural Expo and say hello. I'm actually going to California for about 2 weeks. From the 9th until the 22nd, we'll be in LA itself for 5 nights, then we'll be at Tulare for 3 nights, and then back to LA for the remainder. So we're really looking forward to it. Me, Ash, and the kids are all going, so it should be good. A bit chaotic, but good. We hit these blocks with the blowtorch because there's a releasing agent on them. As in, when they're cast, they have to spray this fine mist of oil on them to make sure they come out of the cast. So we need to burn that off, because the whole point of that releasing agent is that it's slippy. So if it's on there, when we glue the blocks on, they simply won't stick. Okay, so this cow may have an infection up here. It's probably completely set now, to be honest. And if we look up here, you can see 2 points where this infection has actually burst out. I hate to say it, like I really genuinely hate to say it, but that's not our department. Our department is the hoof, and it is getting much, much better. When I say it's not our department, I really care, and I'll do everything I can to help that. But it's the vets and the people that work here who are the only people who can deal with that, because they need to fight the infection. We're providing hugely required and needed pain relief by putting these 2 blocks on. And actually that does help, because these blocks lift the bad claw up off the ground, meaning she'll use this foot. Using the foot is really important, because if they don't use it, the muscles aren't used. If they don't use their muscles, the blood flow reduces, and the cow's ability to fight the infection diminishes. So in order to fight the infection, the cow needs to be mobile and walking around, and these blocks help her to do that. From our point of view, as hoof trimmers, this cow is a successful case for us. We've nearly healed the hoof. Once it's completely healed, our job will be pretty much done, but the farmer needs to continue doing whatever treatment they are continuing with, administering, that's it. The farmer needs to continue administering whatever drugs they're using to fight this infection, and hopefully she will get over it. But a lot of the time, they end up with a slight club foot, so they walk slightly awkward, but they're not in pain. And I think that's exactly what will happen with this cow. So we've now trimmed about 35 cows. We've got roughly 20 or so left of these girlies here. We've only had one that was properly lame, the one that you saw with the old bandage on. We're going to continue on with the magic of video and trim these other 15 or 20 or so, and then we're going to move on to this little pen right here, where we do have a couple of issues. No offense, but this big fat cow here is slightly sore on one of her feet. And then this little heifer over here, who's a horny little devil, has a really sore front right foot. So once we finish what we're doing right now, we'll get them into the crush and see what the deal is with them. But more importantly than that, Craig, it's coffee time.
I know I joke about it from time to time, but coffee really does keep us going. It's a little bit of comfort in a harsh environment. It's 5 minutes to chill out, relax, and try to de-stress from what it is that we're doing right now. But that being said, as Craig makes the coffee, I always keep trimming.
And just like that, the coffee is done. There's Graham. Graham! Graham! Graham!
What's up?
Your coffee's ready.
Ah,
What are you doing?
it's no angels.
Okay.
Coffee time. Excuse the mucky mug. Don't know what that rubbish is all over it. Oh, it's better. If you haven't checked out the Sheep Game, by the way, the Sheep Game is a YouTube channel with my good friend Cammy Wilson in it. Go and check him out. You'll see some amazing footage of Scotland. There's one where these rams or these tups live on a wild Scottish island or something. His last one or the one before, what a video. Honestly, go and check it out. The sheep game. He's a nice guy too, but don't tell him I said that. Usually we just stop for a few moments to have coffee and then continue on while we still have our coffee, to be honest, while we're trimming.
When cows live on concrete, their feet aren't as good as this. This is the result of routine hoof trimming, again and again consistently, never missing a turn. When you compare a hoof with a major problem to a hoof like this, you may think that a farmer is getting more value for money with the major issue hoof. You couldn't be further from the truth. These are the truly valuable trims. These are the ones that prevent rather than cure, and they are infinitely more valuable.
We're going to leave this. This looks like it's bitty and horrible, and yes, it's not pretty. But if we remove that, we're lowering that height, and all of the weight will then be transferred back to this cloth, which would only make bruising like this even worse. That's routine trimming at its finest. Right, by the magic of television or YouTube or Facebook, whichever medium you're watching this on. By the way, if you haven't followed the Facebook page or liked the YouTube page or subscribed to the YouTube page, please do so now, because those numbers going up just inspire us to make more videos and make more content. So yeah, do me a massive solid, a great favour, help me out by following this Facebook page or subscribing to the YouTube channel. Anyway, like I said, just like that, we are getting these cows out of the pen and ready to see what's wrong with this horny little devil. I couldn't actually see why the bigger cow was in earlier. I couldn't spot the lame foot. And it's because she doesn't have one. She's just in for a routine trim as well. But clearly our horny little friend has a very sore front left foot. But see how every time she steps, she throws her head up? That's because as she steps down, she throws her head up in the air to take the pressure off that sore foot. That's how you know it's a front foot that's sore. Come on, on you go. And she's obviously keen to get in because she walked straight into the crush. She must know we're here to help. When cows are as lame as this little cow is, there are three usual suspects. Either they've got something stuck in it, they've got an infection, or it's digital dermatitis. So, to be honest, I'm hoping it's something stuck in it because that's easily fixed. And what do you know, it's not what I was hoping. This is foul in the foot. It's an extremely painful infection within the ankle and the interdigital space, sometimes called super foul. Basically, there's a break in the skin in here, and then this nasty bacteria gets in and infects the whole of this part of the cow's foot and bursts out through the bottom. It's obviously painful because it's open, but it's actually only opened up because it's got so progressed. The problem you see is cows have a tendon running all the way down the back of their leg, right down their shin bone. It splits here and it operates these two digits. It works in exactly the same way our hamstrings do, and this don't take this the wrong way, but imagine this is the tendon and this is the sheath. The tendon goes through the sheath, through the hole like that. So the sheath is what surrounds the tendon, and the tendon slips up and down to operate each individual claw. The trouble when they get foul in the foot is this sheath tightens because it's inflamed, and eventually the tendon can't move anymore, and that leads to even more increased inflammation, and the blood flow reduces, which again increases the inflammation and therefore the pain. The task then is to reduce that inflammation enough so that the cow can walk on it again and completely overcome the infection. The trouble is, as a hoof trimmer, that's not something we would normally do. However, this farm does have a problem with foul in the foot right now, so I know the medication is here specifically for this problem. So we'll go ahead and get her treated. There we go, we can really clearly see now that problem and why it is so sore. So obviously this isn't a claw problem, but we're gonna model this area out as much as we can because that'll let fresh air and oxygen, crucially, into this problem. We really want to trim right up these axial walls to widen the interdigital space as much as we possibly can. These hooves are hard because she's been on straw and it's dried them out. There's still dirt up in there. Okay, so a bit of an update. Unfortunately, they've run out of the perfect medication that they did have for this problem, but they have the next best thing, which is this. It's called oxytetracycline, and this is also prescribed by the vets for problems just like this. This is an antibiotical spray, so it will help to disperse the problem in there, but it isn't foolproof. So I'll mention that to the farmer, and hopefully they can speak to the vet and get it wrapped up properly.
This spray provided by the vet is being sprayed directly onto the lesion, and obviously it will dry, but it's still seriously useful to have something in place which will ensure that it sticks on and penetrates that lesion as deeply as possible. So wrapping it with a piece of gauze like this is fantastic. The environment she's just about to step into is not conducive to keeping something like this in place, so we need to do everything we possibly can to make sure it does.
Farmer's just come around the corner and told me wifey has appeared. Yay! She usually brings things. Hello? Yes.
Right, something.
Dressed for the farm, I see.
I wasn't planning on coming to the farm.
She's brought me gifts. What have you got?
Loaf of bread, you make sandwich.
A loaf of bread, thanks. Great.
Sandwich.
What have you got? What have you got? What have you got?
Put in.
She only brought 2 though, not enough for Craig, just me. Main course. Nice. Just
Touch my car, you're kind of dirty.
I didn't touch it. Not want me to touch her car. Right, okay, we'll get back to work. We've only got a couple left and that's us. No? Look what she brought us though. She only brought enough cream cakes for me though.
Yeah, I thought so.
It's only 2.
You sure? Usually you get about 4 or something, no?
Harsh.
Yeah, thank you very
Will not
much.
be that long, okay? So as I was away talking to Ashley, Stuart has indeed jagged this little horny heifer. Goes 604,979. Ooh! Not very friendly. Good. Clearly what we've done for her today right now is not going to make an instant impact, but in about 2 days time hopefully she'll look like a totally different little heifer. So we will come back here specifically just to unwrap that and see what that foot's looking like. So make sure you subscribe so that you can see that. Right now it's time for us to get washed up, get wrapped up and head on home to the wintry wonderland that is southwest Scotland right now. Thank you very much for watching this episode of the Hoof GP. Make sure you've subscribed or followed this page. We'll catch you on the next upload. Bye for now.